Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Visual Learner. I'm Harland, and this is my podcast. And it has been probably almost 2 months since I've done one of these. And that is because of a lot of things. I guess I should just get right into personal stuff. I wanted to touch on what's been going on in my life for all of you fine folks who care. First of all, if you are here because you watch my normal short form, like 20-minute long videos that I do, you've noticed that I have been doing more like React style content rather than scripted commentary videos, and that is because I have found it increasingly difficult to find the time to write out a script with my new job, which I started in September, which is also the same time that I moved here. And yes, I know the rug is too small. That came from my other old place that was much, much, much smaller. I would buy another one, but I'm not going to buy a polyester piece of crap 8x10 carpet or rug. That one is real wool. And that cost me probably like $500. And I refuse to spend like $200 on a plastic piece of shit carpet. So unless somebody wants to donate some money, give me a super like down there to get a new rug, then you're just going to have to deal with the small one. Okay, get over it. Anyway, I've seen a couple of comments about how small my rug is, and I know. Besides that, though, since moving here and starting my new job, it's just extremely difficult to find time to sit down and write a script. At my other job, dude, I was writing scripts at work. I can't do that any longer because I am making content and video editing, for anywhere from 5 to 8 hours a day at my day job. So I don't have the time to write a script, so it's just been a lot easier for me to gather some Instagram videos and react to them in real time. And it's one of those things where I can't get around to doing this because I'm tired, or because I'm working on a different video. So that's why it's been so long for me to do one of these. In a couple of days on my days off, I'm going to record another React video just so I have some stuff to put out. So that's why the change in the content. And also other personal, I don't know. I was thinking about this before I started recording, that like kind of breaking down my finances and man, shit's getting tight. My cost of living basically doubled, and I took a pay cut at this job, but I got health insurance, but I took a pay cut. And also dude, talking about money on the internet and I don't want to say I'm complaining, but just like, I don't know, it makes me feel a little uncomfortable to talk about, but I don't know. I don't think enough people talk about their finances and if they're struggling or if not, because it just further stigmatizes it, I think, in a lot of ways. Like for many, many years, I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but like even talking about how much your rent was or what your salary was at your job, like it was kind of taboo to talk about that stuff even with like your coworkers, because I shouldn't have to say this, because capitalism has conditioned us to shame us into discussing what we're getting paid with our coworkers, because capitalist companies and corporations don't want even a hint of the possibility of their employees like getting into like collective bargaining and shit like that. So, and it still is like, I still feel a little weird talking about the money that I'm making from doing this stuff, but I mean, it is subsidizing my life a little bit. And when I moved, for whatever reason, man, my views just like tanked. And I know a lot of it is because I don't do one thing. You know, if you look at the content that I was putting out, 3 or 4 months ago, all over the place. I did an hour-long review of every Tremors movie for like Halloween. And then, I put out one of these podcast episodes that was literally titled Abolish ICE, which I don't know if it was that video or some of the other videos leading up to that, but I lost like 300 or 400 subscribers. I gained them back in the last month by doing like silly React videos. So I'm going to keep doing what works. And also because it's just, honestly, it's easier. It's easier to riff for an hour and then cut out 40 minutes and turn that into a digestible 20-minute mealtime video for you all to enjoy. So what was the point of that? Personal stuff, right? Yeah. So I don't know. Right before recording, I was just thinking about where I'm at, like financially, and I mean, I don't want it to sound like, oh, woe is me. Like that's not what I want out of this. If anything, it's more oh, we're all financially struggling, right? And I mean, then I start to think about the fact that if you want to not die in the streets, you have to figure out a way to monetize every part of your life, which is like what I'm doing here. Like starting YouTube, I was doing it because I realized I really liked editing video from doing a different podcast with friends, from playing D&D with friends and recording those. And like, I didn't start this as a monetization effort, right? Like that in my head was always going to be like, that's a byproduct of doing this thing I really enjoy. I have a lot of opinions and a lot of thoughts on stuff too. So like, that doesn't hurt if you have stuff to say that you can then turn into a silly video with a bunch of fart sounds in it. So this was never a thing to monetize, but as it has become that, right? And as my financial situation has changed over the years, it has really helped. I mean, having my Patreon really fucking helps. That extra, I mean, I'm only making like $100 something after I'm getting taxed from Patreon. Thank you so much to everybody that is signed up. I wish I could give more perks and things like that. And thank you to everybody that has actually left like super likes on YouTube and like donated money to allow me to continue to do this and to, I mean, legit move into a place that is not an underground in-law unit that's maybe 400 square feet with no kitchen in it at all. Like, to get really not vulnerable, but like honest with you guys, the place I was living at before, I was doing dishes in a stand-up shower. And I no longer have to do that, partially because of you guys. I mean, the job I got that I have now, making content for a company, I got that job because of doing YouTube. Like, because people subscribed and because people watched these videos. You essentially got me a job with health insurance. So thank you. Like, beyond, I'm never able to articulate how grateful I am to all of you. But I mean, that's just personal stuff that like I've been thinking about, actual personal stuff that did happen recently. I had a family health scare. My dad was in the hospital and I had to fly out to Kansas City. I mean, I didn't have to, but it was the good thing to do. It was the right thing to do. It turned out, I mean, we still don't really know what the issue is. And I don't want to give away too much information about what happened because that's his business to talk about that. But, you know, I flew out there to see him to make sure he wasn't dying. because he's the last parent that I have alive right now. Which, like, I've never really talked about this on here, and I've thought about wanting to make a video about grief for a while, but I just haven't ever known how to come at it. But my mom died like 4 years ago, and I'm still like probably in some way dealing with that. It came out of nowhere, and so my dad having this health scare, it's bringing back a lot of those memories of what that was like when that happened. And having to like pay again. I mean, it all comes back to fucking money, like paying to fly to Kansas City because that's, where he lives, paying to, potentially have to, for like a hotel or a car, or like all that stuff because a tragedy happens in your life. And, luckily they're in a place that they can, that they helped out. They like paid for my ticket, or they, reimbursed me for my ticket, but like, that's not always going to be the case. Right. And it's just, there's been a lot of stuff in the last like week. I flew out there. I got back this last Sunday, so it's only been like 3 days since I've been back. But the financial aspect of, medical shit in your family that you have to attend to, what happens when it is the big one, and you have to deal with not just like, okay, travel and scheduling and the money, but also like, okay, now like we have to sort out any of these loose ends when, a family member dies. And I was lucky when my mom died that I had her sister and, other family friends that could take care of those things, because when that happened, I was definitely not in a place financially that I could go up there and take a week off. I mean, I took off, I think you get leave. I don't know if it's like this in every state, because why would it be? But California, you get, not severance. What's it called? Bereavement pay, right? So I think it's only like 3 or 4 days, but I used those to go to her memorial months after it happened. I never went up there, when it happened. Thankfully, my aunt was able to take care of all that stuff, but I mean, that's really sad, right? And now I'm in a little bit better of a place to fly to see my dad when these things happen, and when he does die. So death has been on my mind lately, and that's it's a lot, on top of thinking about paying rent and paying my bills and how expensive everything is, and then like, what happens when I die? I don't want to have kids. So who the fuck is going to be flying out to see me if I collapse and have a stroke or a heart attack or bonk my head in the shower? Like, when I'm 70, if I make it that far, if any of us make it that far. So it's just been a weird week. And I think I don't know what the point of opening up to you guys like this really is, besides I think that I wish that other people who were in a similar position as me online would talk more about these things. And like, there have been, I'm not saying that like I haven't seen anything like that, but I feel like there should be a bit of a normalizing of talking about your finances, talking about death, talking about things that are happening in your life to an extent, right? It's a slippery slope. If for no other reason than like, I don't know, maybe at least one of you out there might resonate with what I'm talking about, or I don't know, be glad to hear. Maybe you're going through something similar, right? Like I always reference that one video I did years ago at this point about my struggle with addiction, and the amount of comments and people being like, thank you so much for making this and for saying these things because it makes me feel less crazy. I've taken that into all the content that I've made. When it comes to like either being vulnerable or talking about issues that are important to me, talking about marginalized people or people that don't have a voice, I've always tried to keep that in the back of my head that if just one person, relates, it's all been worth it. So, and I haven't really talked like this in a minute on this podcast. I don't think, the last podcast was about abolishing ICE and the multiple murders that happened and by ICE. So a little different. But I just thought it was important to maybe say something about what's going on in my life, what I've been kind of thinking about, worrying about, if I'm being honest. But everything's fine. Thank you so much for continuing to support the channel. Like I said, I have a Patreon that you can go support. If you have $1 a month, you can get my content ad-free. There are other tiers, but I'm definitely not asking for people to go sign up for $5 a month. But I feel like this intro is all over the place. I did not really think too much ahead about how I wanted to talk about what's been on my mind. So I apologize if this feels kind of all over the place. I do have a couple of other things I want to talk about though. And I'm sure by the time this comes out, this will be old news because I haven't been here. I literally haven't been in this state. So I apologize if other people have already talked about this stuff, but these are things that I want to talk about. And the first thing was Alyssa Liu, which I think it's pronounced Liu, not Lou, like people have been saying. If I'm wrong, come at me in the comments, correct me, but I saw her saying it as Liu, not Lou. So I'm going to stick with that. If you don't even know who I'm talking about, it's the women's Olympic figure skater who won gold. And she is from the Bay Area. She is Oakland. She's from Oakland. That fucking rules. I have never in my life before she competed and won gold cared about figure skating at all. But I watched all of her performances and there were multiple times where I got choked up and I was like on the verge of weeping. It was beautiful to see her out there having so much fun, crushing it, and then like learning about her retirement and her family life and, how she basically quit because she was tired of being told how to dress and how to perform and what to eat, how to eat, when to eat, and came back under the stipulation that she could do it however she wanted to. And you know what fucking happened? She won the gold medal. And that fucking rocks, dude. I've never been more proud of an athlete being from Oakland than I am with Alyssa Liu. It's incredible. Problem, because anytime a woman does anything is immediately get sexualized. So that fucking sucks. And we're just the worst. And men are just the worst. During everyone celebrating in the Bay Area that she won gold representing Oakland, there were a bunch of incel lunatics online talking about her photos of her with the gold, with sticking her tongue out, and being like, you can't tell me this isn't Goonbait. And first of all, Goonbait, guys, come on. Goonbait. What are we even doing? I feel like I say that way too often in all of my content. What are we doing? Goon bait? Are you goon maxing too? Right? Like what? It's so stupid. The fact that a woman can't just stick her tongue out in a photo and some horny woman hating goober is going to comment on it and say some disgusting shit is crazy. I mean, there were multiple tweets that if you're watching the video of this podcast, the video version, I'll have them on screen for you to get really, really bummed out reading. But there were some, and it wasn't even just her either. Sorry, I'm like going through a collection of these from an Instagram account. There were multiple other female women Olympians that were also getting called just being sexualized. Somebody put together a collection of 4 other athletes that said, why have they turned the Winter Games into the Goonbait Olympics? Guy who has only ever seen women in the context of pornography. Getting a lot of porn vibes here. Women exist. Man, is this porn? It's insane. Like the internet, I don't even want to blame pornography. I want to blame the internet for rotting men's brains this way. And turning them all into like drooling animals with an IQ of 40. Somebody commented on one of these posts. It's giving, well, what was she wearing vibes. Yeah. It's just a different version. I mean, it's literally just a different version of, well, what was she wearing? It seems like maybe she was asking for it. Oh, she didn't want to be sexualized? Why'd she take up skiing? The sexiest sport on the planet. Insane. So yeah, there were a bunch. It's just frustrating that this is the world that we live in. That women can't do anything without being jerked off to. Goon Olympics. Nobody said this about that Einstein photo. Anyway, so proud of Alyssa Liu. Not disappointed in men as a species, as a whole species. It's unfortunate that this is where we are at. I am going to, by the way, talk about this type of person, this type of guy in an upcoming React video I'm going to do this weekend. I am going to be watching a bunch of clavicular content to try and, I think I've figured it out, but these fucking people, man. It's like, I've never understood these kinds of guys that are like, fucking put your titties away. You're making me wanna commit a crime. While also kind of giving off the energy of like, fucking, I hate women though. Like, I know that a lot of them hate women because they are awful people and most women do not want to be around them. But like, dude, do you not hear yourself? You really can't understand why a woman would be like, get the fuck away from me, you're disgusting, when you're posting shit like this. Man, which do you prefer? The aristocratic elegance of the small-breasted woman or the Nietzschean pro-sex, pro-beauty, large-breasted woman? Like, What the fuck? Who thinks of this? Who thinks of this? This is like, I mean, I know this is a really old meme, but every day it rings more and more true that everyone is fucking 12. This is shit a 12-year-old would say. I mean, they wouldn't know who Nietzsche is or the word aristocratic. But basically, it's not too much different than what a toddler, a preteen thinks about women. Fucking so embarrassing, dude. Keep that shit, from the days of MySpace and Facebook. I mean, very early on in the MySpace days, the vague posting shit was like the first sort of like, oof, that's embarrassing. Ooh, oh, I mean, that was cringe before cringe was cringe, right? Like, and it's just evolved into incel culture, objectifying women who they've never met without their consent, against their will. And it's just like, ooh, every time I see this, I'm like, ooh. I feel the same cringe that I felt when I would see somebody post, like, know that somebody went through a breakup and then post like a Death Cab for Cutie lyric in the bulletin on MySpace. Be like, hey, oh, buddy, keep that shit to yourself. How about just listen to the music? You don't need to transcribe the lyrics for all your friends to see and then try and interpret and feel bad for you. Throw yourself a little internet pity party. Because that was the ultimate goal of vague posting on MySpace, was somebody will notice that I'm hurt inside, that I'm wounded, that she wounded me. It's a pretty good Keanu Reeves impression, I think. I have been wounded. Whoa. Why would you wound me? Whoa, why would you wound me thus? Shakespearean Keanu Reeves. Hitherto my heart is now... I wish I had a better Shakespearean vocabulary to pull like a Ross Bryant. Speaking of celebrities, the other thing I wanted to talk about was these fucking GoFundMes for celebrities that have been happening lately. What the fuck is that? Speaking of people dying and not being financially secure, what? Sorry, I can't. James Vanderbeek died, and a GoFundMe was started where he got like a couple $1 million, right? James Vanderbeek GoFundMe. How much money? Oh, it's still up. $2.7 million and still counting. For a massive celebrity, maybe B-list celebrity at this point, but at one time one of the biggest fucking names in pop culture. And then this other guy who recently died, Dean something, right? Eric Dane. I'm sorry, Eric Dane. Got a GoFundMe, and like, I don't know who Eric Dane is off the top of my head, but like a working actor who has been in Grey's Anatomy. Is that right? Yeah, Grey's Anatomy. Oh, he's McSteamy. Oh shit. Okay, I know that name. But like, stop giving these people, stop giving celebrities your money. And then so the reason I wanted to talk about this was because Alyssa Milano, of all people, wrote a Substack article titled "The Quote Unquote Elite Myth and the GoFundMe Outrage." And it's horseshit. It's so stupid. Like, this is propaganda. And the way that she talks about sort of the financial inequities among the performing arts and these celebrities, I don't know if I don't think it's intentional that she's doing this, but it kind of reshapes the way that we talk about inequality, right? Because it's different, but there's a difference between needing help and to survive and needing help to maintain, a kind of status, which in my opinion is kind of what this is. Like for me, right? If all of a sudden I lost my job and I started a GoFundMe, that would be me needing to do that to survive, right? If my dad died and we didn't have the money to pay for his medical bills and funeral expenses and all that stuff, that would be me surviving. It's not about the status that I have as an influencer or content creator or micro celebrity, right? There is a difference. Being evicted, not having insurance, not having assets, no safety net, right? Like I don't have a lot of those things. I have no assets. I have no safety net. I could be evicted at any time because we fucking love landlords in this country. That's asking, that's asking for help. That's asking for basic stability, right? But somebody who has lived and worked for decades in what is an upper class lifestyle because of the job they do, because they are a notable person who is on syndicated TV, who owns property, who has industry connections, and not just that, but like social capital and political capital, right? They can call people to help them, right? By giving them money, by taking from us, the people who patron their art. I don't want to call it, I almost called it content. Ooh, fuck. Who patron and consume their art that in turn pays for their homes and cars and health insurance, right? I know that SAG, it's like 20% of your income goes to SAG dues and things like that, and your insurance. But they get insurance and they have royalties. I don't know. Obviously, I'm not an insider. I don't know. Royalties are so weird. And I know for certain projects, as more and more streamers continue to buy up these properties, royalty shit is up in the air. I get that. But if these people decided, rather than starting a fucking GoFundMe, to downsize their lifestyle, their families would be fine. It's not like they don't have like investments either, right? It's not like they don't have like 401ks or personal finance managers that their dividends are getting put into a portfolio or a trust. Their families are going to be fine. I refuse to believe that they are that they are in that much hardship. I mean, for James Vanderbeek, like a year before he died or a couple months before he died, he bought like a $2 million home. And now what? All these GoFundMe donations are going to just basically reimburse you for that? What the fuck? It's fucking crazy. But in Alyssa Milano's Substack article, she said, the term elite is often misused to describe anyone who has achieved visibility or success. I feel like she's kind of conflating two different versions of visibility, right? These people are not billionaires. I get that. But in the caste system that we live in, there are multiple layers to the visibility that she's talking about, right? Again, decades of recognition and property. it is not the same as, Bill Gates. I get that. But this person owns shit. It's not the same as, me working 2 jobs or me working 1 normal job and starting a Patreon and also having to make content in order to subsidize my lifestyle. My lifestyle as in being able to pay rent. It's not like I'm going on I don't own a yacht. There's a difference. And to make the comparison that like Eric Dane or James Van Der Beek or any of these other celebrities that are out of work or are finding it hard to find work is very fucking different. I don't have the connections. We don't have the connections or the capital that these people do. So to say that elite is, who is even calling these people elite in the first place? I feel like her whole premise is flawed in the first, like from the jump. I don't think that these people are elite in the same way that Jeff Bezos is elite, right? I don't think that. I mean, Eric Dane, I don't know obviously what his finances were, but in this economy, he's probably like upper middle class, which is fucking crazy to be somebody who is on syndicated TV and only be considered upper middle class. He's probably not the 1%, right? So to talk about it as if he is like the elite, it's just frustrating the way that certain people like AstroTurf and defend, like, you should get, it essentially, like, her article boils down to like, you should actually give him money. And also, when I die, you should give my family money too. Because she also says that most actors are working class. And it's like, yeah, I saw a breakdown of union membership in I think it was all the different Hollywood unions, and it's only like a membership of 177,000 people, right? That is not a lot of people for such a large money banking industry. And yes, the majority of those people are gaffers and, PAs and carpenters and makeup artists. Like, that's the majority of the Hollywood unions. There's probably 500, if that, very well-known household names in all of Hollywood, right? And while, yes, most of the actors are working class, that's not who we're talking about. We're not talking about the gaffer who had cancer. Where's the GoFundMe for that guy, right? Where's the GoFundMe for the makeup artist and her family? Like, we're not criticizing fucking extras who are trying to continue to work in order to stay in the union in order to get health benefits. This guy had health insurance, and it's sad that he died, but he never had to struggle to find work to continue to maintain those health benefits. And he was probably also paying for extra health insurance for the specialized care that he needed for his ALS. That is a luxury that a lot of these working class union folks do not have the luxury of accessing. There's also like the parasocial aspect of it, right? Like at the end of the day, this whole GoFundMe thing with both of these individual actors, they are tapping into the parasociality of their personas, of who they are as performers, right? That seems kind of fucking shitty. How often do we criticize somebody like Taylor Swift for doing a similar thing to get her fans to buy the 8th edition of the same record just because the cover is different art, right? This is bothering me. I feel like that's a little better. Sorry, I had to fix my camera. So that's shitty, right? The fucking stagehand doesn't have a parasocial relationship. There's nobody has a parasocial relationship with them. She also goes on to say, compassion should not require a means test. And yes, that is true. The problem is that everybody but people like Eric Dane and James Van Der Beek are required to pass a means test every single day. Fucking EBT requires it, Medicaid, your Social Security payments, housing, right? To get any kind of housing subsidies, disability, all of these social safety nets that exist that are supposed to be provided by the government require multiple steps and for you to prove that you qualify. And for her to like just dismiss that is it's insulting. It's insulting to the actual working class people in her industry. It's crazy. Like, this comes across as if like she's one of those people that like doesn't even try to remember the crew's name when she's on a film set or a TV set. Talk about elite. Speaking of, well, two things to wrap this up, because I've been yapping for almost an hour. One, I guess I missed it, but it was apparently Sensitive Young Man Winter. I wish I had known earlier, because I think it's, in a couple of days, it's going to be spring. So I'm curious, what kind of guy, what kind of archetype do we have in store for us for spring? I miss Sensitive Young Man Winter with Punch the Monkey, that little penguin, and my favorite one, Dunk from A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. He's a sensitive young man. And I really only wanted to bring this up because, one, I love a new genre of person, a new seasonal guy or gal. And when I saw Duncan the Tall as one of the examples of a sensitive young man, I really just wanted to use that as an excuse to talk about how incredible Night of the Seven Kingdoms is. Everybody should go watch it. I haven't felt this satisfied and eager and excited for a Game of Thrones property since probably the first season of the original. And listen, I'm a D&D guy, right? I love my high fantasy. I love my grimdark, and this is so refreshing because it is fun. Every other. The two other Game of Thrones shows are so dour. There was some humor in the first series in Game of Thrones. There were some moments of levity and humor, but man, the end just really ruined it. House of the Dragon, boy, it is a downer, huh? So it's cool. It's cool to see a big, dumb, hot idiot, a himbo knight. Hedge knight, more like himbo knight, am I right? It's great to see a himbo knight who is honorable and funny, have such a fun relationship with the bald little boy Egg. And it takes place in one setting over the course of probably a few days. It is so different than the time traveling, than the time skipping House of the Dragon, or the epic storytelling of Game of Thrones that happens over fucking a decade or something like that. It's cool to get an entire season in one place with the same characters who you get to know and love and hate in some regard, because it's not like there's no conflict. But it is just so refreshing and so fun and so honestly easy to watch because the episodes are so short. I think it's gonna be one of those shows that I put on and just watch throughout. I mean, it's literally half-hour episodes. It's 6 episodes. You watch it in an afternoon. You'd watch 3 hours of Game of Thrones. That's sick. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about Sensitive Young Man Winter because I saw, I forget the actor's name. I saw him in one of these like collages about it and was just like, God, Night of the Seven Kingdoms is so good. It's just so much fun. So that was all I wanted to talk about. That's what I wanted to close it on. And what's the male equivalent of I'm just a girl? Sensitive young man. Anyway, watch A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. And what else? I guess that's the real and only call to action I have for this episode. I'm going to be working on, hopefully I can get this out by the end of this weekend. This doesn't involve as much editing. And then I'm going to film another thing. So hopefully Monday or Tuesday, I can get another shorter video out, a react video. And, I don't know, just keep working on that. I didn't do any, questions. I'm so sorry. You can send me, questions, submissions, insights, memes, content, weirdos to look at. In the link in the description, I have a Google form that you can fill out and send to me. That would be pretty cool of you. And again, thank you guys so much for continuing to support the channel, continuing to support me on Patreon. I really, really, really do appreciate it. I will never understand why any of you watch my content. That's not true. But I'll never be able to articulate it fully and really impress upon you how much it means to me that you're there. Until next time, peace and love. Why did I say it like that? Peace and love. Just maybe end with a little more sincere note. Peace and love. Peace and love. God, you're an idiot.